Hello, welcome. Mind, body, glitter. Yoga is starting right now. We're just going to get the Instagram live stream locked and loaded as well. Give me 1 second to do that. We're going to start in an easy seat today. So you can find that posture on your mat. It can be cross-legged, or if you prefer to tuck your feet underneath you, you are welcome to. Hello, welcome. We are live. Mind, Body, Glitter Yoga starts right now. Hi, I'm Olivia. We are now good to go on the Instagram, or we will be in 1 second. And some folks are tuning in to the Zoom. Welcome. Today's class, as voted by popular demand, is going to be a really lovely, slow flow class. It's going to be low impact. It's going to be like smooth and lazy. And we're just going to get into some awesome hip, low body stretches and some nice twists for this middle and low back area. And we're going to start that right now. So we're going to find that cross-legged seated position. And before we move farther, just bring palms to knees. Roll shoulders forward, up towards your ears, and then back behind you. Let your shoulder blades knit together, getting even a little bit closer behind you. And then tuck the chin a little bit. See how that straightens the spine, maybe gets you a little bit taller. And then from here, bring the backs of your hands down to your legs, down to your lap, palms face up. So we're flipping the palms up towards the sky. And right here in the beginning of class, you're welcome to close your eyes and start to be conscious of the breath. Inhaling a little bit fuller and exhaling a little bit slower. Maybe closing your eyes to focus the attention inward, feeling how it feels to bring that air into your lungs and expand out in all directions, and then feeling that same air rinsing out of your body, getting even a little bit emptier on that exhale before you inhale, slow and full and sweetly, even more than before. And then exhaling, knitting those shoulders back and down, again behind you. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then you can flutter your eyes open. We're going to take an early twist. So left hand's going to come across the body to the outside of right thigh. Right arm's going to reach right up and then straight behind you, pressing your palm down into the mat at the base of your spine. So the heel of your hand, and the heel of my hand at least, is pressing into the mat, like right behind my bum. And then from here, inhaling, keeping that long spine, resisting the urge that we're going to naturally have to tilt over forward into the side. Really keeping that nice long straight spine, and then twisting, looking over the right shoulder. Maybe the back of left palm presses into right thigh. Twisting even deeper here, trying to look over right shoulder towards the right corner of the room. A couple of those announcements I always say at the top of every class. Excuse me. We're going to cue this class without music because we want everyone to be able to hear. We want Instagram to leave the video up instead of pulling it down for having copyrighted content or limiting where it can be viewed. But if you prefer to practice with music, heck yeah, throw on a playlist. We've got this rainy day, lazy flow class going on, so maybe something a little bit mellower or chiller than you would normally play. A little bit of reggae, who knows? It's that kind of class. You can throw that on now. Taking one more breath to twist a little farther. See if you can look over, trace your gaze to the periphery of your vision on the right side. See if you can twist a little bit deeper towards the right to expand your gaze more towards that right side. And then exhale, coming back to center. Right arm reaches straight up and then crosses over to the left side. Inhale, left arm reaches straight up, and then exhale, press that left palm behind you into the mat, right at the base of your spine. Same thing, opposite side. Again, this time we're gonna wanna tilt or roll forward towards the left. We're resisting that urge, keeping shoulders over hips, keeping chin over left shoulder, and same thing we just did on the right side. Maybe on this side, you can really push the periphery of your left side gaze even a little bit farther towards the left, really twisting around your spine as kind of that like flagpole of your body. Starting here to check in with the breath to see how we feel in our low back, in our mid back, between our shoulders here. As always with all of these classes, I want to just remind everyone to be super compassionate with yourself, to be very conscious of your body, of your body's movements and limitations today, the limitations of your space. We're going to try to push through to find new boundaries of flexibility today, but we want to do it in a way that's safe for everyone. And because I can't see everyone's practice very well on these live streams, I just want to always remind people, take things slow. And if you have questions about a posture or anything, shoot me a message after class and I'll give you some tips for next time if the modifications that I give during class aren't helping you enough. I'm going to try to give a bunch during class, but if you need more, don't be shy. Feel free to send a message. You can exhale, come back to center. We're just going to pause here for a little bit of an upper body, neck, and shoulder stretch. So roll the shoulders. I invite you to take turns, kind of focusing on one shoulder. I'm alternating. Some people prefer to do same shoulders rolling back, down, and forward. I prefer to do one at a time. And I kind of end up, when I alternate shoulders like this, I end up focusing more on one. So I'm like focusing on my right shoulder extending forward, back and down, and the left one's just sort of the counterbalance to that. And then I'll switch the focus over to the left side, right, back and down. And now the right side is just the counterbalance to that stretch. And then from here, if you've been going all the same way, take it the opposite direction. So if you've been rolling them forward, now try to roll them back and down. Same thing if you're doing one at a time. Now they're moving backwards. Take your time here. We've got nothing but time. Really try to exaggerate it. Maybe start to snake the spine a little bit side to side. Make it a little weird here, right? No one's watching you. It's true for everyone, maybe, but no one's watching you here probably in your space at home. You can be a little bit exaggerated in these movements, starting to use your spine like a giant, I call it soupy circles because it's like your spine is a soup ladle that's just like swirling around in a giant pot. You're trying to like mix up that liquid in the bowl. And then maybe you take it in the opposite direction and maybe the shoulders are coming with it. Maybe it's a little bit of a dance. If you've got music on, maybe there's a beat there. Hey. You've got like 3 cycles of breath here to just kind of experiment with this. We did a ton of back bending yesterday. I don't know if you guys practice with us back bending. Yeah, anyone who did, you're probably feeling a little bit of soreness in that like low and mid back today. That it shouldn't be pain. It should feel pretty good. It should be like, that stretch that we got into that's hard to get into. We're going to get a little bit more of that today in a different part of the body. When you finish your third exhale, come back to center. We're going to do a little bit of neck stretching, so interlacing fingers and then bringing that grip behind you at the base of your neck and just using the weight of the arms to drag your chin down towards your chest. And just letting the gravity do the work here. pulling your head down towards the ground. Think about shoulder blades pressing away from each other now. So elbows tuck in towards each other and the space between the shoulder blades expands wider. Stick with that for like 3 more deep breaths. And then when you're done with the third, gently release the weight of the hands. Slowly bring that head back up on top of your shoulders, float it up. And then we're gonna take a little bit of a neck stretch here. So right hand's gonna come over to the left ear. Inhale to rock the shoulders back and down, and then exhale, just let the weight of that hand drag your right ear down towards right shoulder. You might feel good exactly like this. If you want to take the stretch a little farther to intensify, you can bring the left hand behind your back and press left hand into your low back. You're going to find that that gets, got some like, ooh, faces on the Zoom. You're going to find that that gets really nice and deep into that left side neck area. Another option for this is to walk left fingertips out towards the left side of the mat. Continuously letting just gravity pull that right ear down towards the ground. So we're not grabbing and dragging with our right arm. We're just resting that right hand on top of our head, and the weight of our arm is dragging that right ear down. And then check in with the rest of the spine. Are you starting to curve your spine in because we're not focused on extending up? See if you can extend through that spine. Keep that nice straight spine. One more breath here. And then exhale to release. Same thing, opposite side. Left fingertips over to the right ear. Just pulling it down. When you get to that point where you feel the tension and your head stops dipping down farther, then you can explore with the right hand. So right hand comes behind the back, pressing into your sacrum with the back of your hand. Or maybe you decide you want to walk right fingertips out towards the right part of the mat, really extending through that right hand, maybe pressing into the mat with right fingertips. See how all of these adjustments slightly tweak the part of the neck that you feel the stretch in. You might walk fingertips more forward towards the front of the mat, towards the front of your space. You might walk them more backward towards the back. All of that is going to change the focus point of the stretch. Inhaling nice and full, extending through that spine, and then exhale back to center. Amazing. So from here, we're doing a little bit of a bound posture. So we're going to keep the legs interlaced, and we're going to bring the hands back behind you about like maybe a foot. Fingertips point forward towards the front of your space or the front of your body. And then from here, we're rotating our hips forward, coming onto our knees, pressing hips forward towards the front of our space, rocking shoulder blades together behind us. Inhale to puff up the chest. It's like a little bit of like a bound bridge pose. Exhale, come back down. Or like a ramp pose, perhaps. It's one of those modern ones that I don't think has a name. Inhale again, rock your hips forward. Just a little bit of you're gonna feel a shoulder stretch here. You're gonna feel a little bit of a quad stretch, psoas stretch on the front of your legs. Exhale, hips come back down. You've got one more of those. Inhaling to rock the hips forward, engaging through the abs, maybe engaging the bum to help rock hips even farther forward to knit shoulder blades closer together behind you, and then rocking hips backwards. And now we're gonna come down onto elbows behind you. So you've got crossed legs still. If you wanna switch the crossing, you're welcome to if you're feeling a little bit cramped. And then from here, you're rocking your hips forward again. See how that gets even deeper into the psoas area. Kind of a crazy posture. So I'm pressing into my elbows. I know the video is cutting me off a little bit on the Instagram, but I'm rocking into my elbows. My bum is up off of the ground. I'm rocking forward onto my shins. And I'm feeling the stretch pretty intensely on the front of the quads, and the shoulders is where you should feel it. Pressing into the mat with your palms. You can let your head go if you want to intensify the stretch even more. Take one more breath and then exhale. Bum comes back down to the ground. Press into the mat with your palms. Roll over shins. Meet in that tabletop position on the mat. So from here, we're going to take some cats and cows. Inhaling comes into that cat pose. Belly drops. Roll shoulders back down behind you. And then exhale, releasing the weight of the head, rounding the spine, coming into that cat pose. We've been warming up the spine a little bit already. So this cat and cow rotation that we often do at the beginning of class might feel a little bit different. You might feel a little warmer. You might feel like you want to experiment a little bit more, even here in the early moments of class, by spinning fingertips back towards your knees, or by snaking spine side to side, rocking forward or back. You're going to find that if you did twist your fingertips back towards your knees so that your wrists, the heels of your hands are pointed forward towards the front of the space, if you've got that rotation, it's a nice forearm stretch, especially if you've been doing a lot of computer work today. I know it's Monday, but the week starts off strong with a lot of typing. I find it's all those emails that I was procrastinating sending at the end of last week. All of a sudden, now I've got to really buckle down and do them. Rotate fingertips back forward. We're just going to do a little bit of early warm-ups in the hips. So inhale, bring that right knee straight out towards the side. It's like a fire hydrant posture, it's called, in exercise classes. It's like a dog that's about to, do its thing on a fire hydrant. So we're pulling that out towards the sides. You're trying to keep your hips square down towards the mat while you pull that knee up even with your hips. Exhale that knee back down. We're gonna do that again. So inhale, right knee comes out towards the right side, as high up towards the hips as you can, keeping that right foot flexed a lot. I talk a lot about pointed toes and flexed feet. Pointed toes, everybody knows. You point your toes like a ballerina. Flexed foot is the opposite. It's like that 90-degree angle in that foot. Exhale, knee comes back down. We're gonna do that a third time. Inhale, trying to keep hips square towards the ground while pulling knee up even with the hip. So your hips are gonna wanna rock over to the left side. You're gonna wanna kind of like open them up and stack the hips. You wanna resist that urge. So we're really focusing the strength building on that outer quad muscle there. Big breath to pull it a little higher, and then exhale, bring that right knee back down to the mat. Inhale, kick that right knee back towards the back of your space, trying to drag that knee up even with the bum. Pause here, inhale, exhale, kick a little higher, exhale, hold, inhale, on your next exhale, kick a little higher if possible, hold. Last one, inhaling and then exhaling to kick even a little bit higher, and then exhale, bring that right knee back down to the mat. Just a little bit of a warm-up and flexibility check-in here at the beginning of class. Inhale through that cow pose, and exhale through cat, realign the spine, and then inhale, doing that fire hydrant posture on the left side. I'm gonna have to adjust a little bit because I have this wall to my left. We gotta do what we gotta do here. Holding it up, trying to keep even with the hips, but hold that knee up even as high as the hips. So keeping that squaring of the hips if possible, keeping the weight over the palms of the hands, and then exhale slowly with control, bringing that left knee down. Take a break, a nice big inhale, and then we're gonna exhale to come right back into it. Today's class is building towards a compass pose. So I would call it an intermediate pose, but I promise it doesn't mean we're gonna be doing a lot of hard cardio. It's gonna be a lot of nice, lazy, deep stretching. We're gonna give ourselves time to open up the hips and hopefully get close to that compass pose. Exhale, left knee comes down. Inhale here, and exhale, left knee comes back up over to the left. This early kind of like static hold pose it's really challenging, right? My leg is kind of shaking even as we hold it here, as I try to flex and get that knee a little higher, but then square hips, but then get the knee up a little higher, and then make sure the shoulders are where they should be, and then my core is lighting up on fire. And this is a great example of how you can get, a pretty good workout even without that high intensity lunges, flows that we often do. Exhaling, left knee back down to the mat. From here, inhale, left leg kicks straight back. Leg is bent. So left knee comes up even with left hip. Left foot is flexed. It's like you're trying to press your heel onto the ceiling of the space you're in, onto the sky. Inhale here, and then exhale, kick it a little higher, keeping hips square down towards the ground, not bucking them open towards the sides. Next exhale, kick a little bit higher. See if you can pull with that heel, pull with that knee. Next one, next exhale, even a little bit higher, holding there for one more big breath. And then exhale, left knee comes down to the mat. Inhale, puff up your chest. Exhale, round the spine, coming into that cat pose, and then tucking toes from here, pressing back into a downward facing dog. And then from here, pedaling up the feet, one and then the other. And for today's class especially, find that downward facing dog alignment. So feet are about hips width distance. You can look back and check on them. Palms are about shoulders width distance. Fingers super wide on the mat. Trying to press our heart space back towards our shins and trying to keep a straight spine while we let our heels sink down towards the mat. So maybe that doesn't mean straight legs. Maybe that means a little bit of bend in the knees today, especially since it's a gentler practice. But we're going to take a little bit of an adjustment here. So everyone bend just your right knee a lot, and sink the weight back into that left heel. You're going to find your left heel gets a lot closer to the mat. So hips are so square towards the front. We're not bucking them open to side, but we're really sinking that left hip towards the ground. And now think about it's like someone is gently pressing on to the outside edge of your right hip, nudging it over to the left. It's a great outside hip stretch. So it's like someone's gently pressing into your right hip, negotiating it over so your whole body leans a little bit farther over towards the left side of your mat, of your space. See how you get into that whole left side body stretch, and then exhale, opposite side. So now left knee bends a lot, right leg straightens, right heel sinks even farther down towards the mat. And then someone's gently pressing into your left side hip as you bump over more towards the right. Inhaling and thinking about that breath. Visualize that breath going to the point where you feel the stretch most intensely. And then visualize that breath helping you find a little bit more room in that muscle, a little bit more of a stretch in that muscle, helping you go a little bit farther into it. Really imagine it. It helps me often to imagine my breath as like a color of energy, like I'm inhaling this like ice blue air into my lungs. It's soaking into my bloodstream, and then it's all coming in and gathering in my outer right hip area. And then it's kind of like numbing it and cooling it, and my hip opens up wider. Just a visualization. That space might be like the space between your shoulder blades. We can come back to neutral downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet again. Sink the hips back, and then inhale, right leg kicks straight back towards the back of your space. Exhale, stack the right toe on top of the left, And then it's just some of those early hip openers. We already warmed up the hips a little bit with that fire hydrant posture. So maybe they feel a little bit more open than normal. Check in on that. Maybe take it the opposite way if you've been going all clockwise. Do your circles in the other direction. Inhale, right leg kicks straight back. Exhale, right foot comes down to the mat. Inhale, left foot lifts towards the back of your space. Point the toe, stack left hip on top of right, and take some of those giant circles in the other way, or on the other side, rather. And I say this every once in a while, but the goal in this posture, you're opening up your hips towards, in this case, the left side, and maybe you want to take it in the opposite direction now, but you want to keep your shoulders square down towards the mat. So it's a side bend, it's a side twist. We're warming up in this way. One more inhale to kick nice and long, and then exhale, left foot comes down to the mat. From here, inhale, right leg kicks straight back. Exhale, right knee to the outside of right elbow. See if you can hover it there for a second, and then plant the right foot outside of right hand, nice and wide here. Then bring the back knee down to the mat. Inhale, lift that right hand up towards the sky, twisting open towards the right. Big inhale here, and then exhale, right hand can come down outside of right foot, and then inhale up into this low lunge. So your hips and your shoulders are above your left knee. Just check and see if you need a little bit of padding on that left knee. You might want to put a blanket or a pillow or something. It's totally normal to feel a little bit of like a kneecap pressure that's uncomfortable, not pain, or like maybe pain from the contact, but not pain like you're twisting your knee. From here, we're sinking hips forward towards the front of our space. Palms can come to right shin. Or if you prefer, you can extend arms up, biceps by the ears, a little bit of a heart opening exercise like we did yesterday. Really continuing with that theme. You should be feeling the stretch in the front of that left thigh, the front top hip area on the left side. Maybe a little on the outside part of your right front hip as well. Big breath here, and then exhale, palms come to the inside of right foot. You can press back up, tuck the back toes. Inhale to puff up your chest towards the front of the space, maybe rocking hips forward and rotating tailbone down as you do to get a deeper stretch there on that left side, just a little bit of a transitional stretch. And then we're gonna exhale to plant left foot wide on the outside of left hand. So now we're in this wide legs. I'm gonna rotate so you can do this wide legs kind of forward fold. We're gonna inhale into a half lift, flat back, palms come to shins or thighs. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. And then inhale, rise up, mountain pose, biceps by the ears, puffing up the chest, looking up, maybe a little bit back. And then exhale, back down into that forward fold. Then bring the hips down, coming into an early malasana, an early squat pose. So you're gonna bring your palms to press at heart center. You're gonna maybe rotate your toes out a little bit. So heels are in, toes are out. Get a little bit of that outward rotation. It's gonna help you to spread your knees. You're gonna press the palms together and tuck the elbows inside the thighs. Rotate shoulders back and down. Extend that heart. Sink the tailbone. We're trying to get our upper body nice and upright. Taking a little bit of time here. Some folks like to sit on a block. So if you have anything, a makeshift block, like a bunch of hardcover books is a great makeshift block, or a stepping stool, something of this sort. We're just getting into this outer IT band stretch, and you might have heels up. You might not have heels all the way to the ground. I started like way up here. I was like, it's impossible. My Achilles are never gonna get there. It's just anatomically not my thing. And now, however many years later, I feel like I could sit like this all day. Inhale for a nice long spine. Exhale, press up to standing, keeping that prayer position up over the head. Extend, look over the thumbs. Exhale, come back down into the squat, keeping upper body upright. On your next exhale, same thing. Second time. Inhale at the top and then exhale, coming back down. You've got one more of those. Pressing up, nice and smooth and slow, looking up, and then from here, coming back down into the squat. Bring your fingertips down to the mat. Hips come to the sky. Forward fold, wide legs. Rotate the toes back forward. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms. If a chaturanga flow, if an upper push-up, lower push-up flow is your vibe for today, you're welcome to take it. I'm going to take the caterpillar for the entire class today. So caterpillar, knees, chest, and chin come down to the mat, bum points up towards the sky, and then you're going to inhale to puff up your chest forward towards the front of your space, and then exhale over bent knees, coming into a child's pose here, and then tucking the toes and pressing back into a downward facing dog. And then from here, inhale, left leg kicks back towards the back of the space. Drag that left knee in towards the elbow, and then plant the left foot outside of left hand. Inhale to puff up your chest towards the front of your space. Exhale, bring that back knee down to the mat. Hi, welcome. Coming to stand on your right knee. Nice long spine here, and then exhale, sink the hips forward towards the front of your space. Palms come to left thigh, keeping a nice long spine, maybe even tucking the chin a little bit. And I say this a lot, but you can come a little bit deeper into the lunge by pressing into the top shoelace part of your back right foot. It's gonna square your hips just a little bit. You can't see it, but I promise you'll feel it. If you press into the shoelace part of your right foot, it like isometrically rotates the hips in and more forward, and then all of a sudden you're a little deeper into the posture here. Take one more big breath here, and then exhale, coming back up. And then from here, right hand comes down to the mat, left arm peels up, coming into a side twist, left side, chin looks over, lifted left shoulder, pressing into the mat with your right palm, maybe spider crawling, right palm closer to left foot to drag that right shoulder closer to left knee to get deeper into the twist for one more breath. And then exhale, left hand comes down inside of left foot. Tuck the back toes, lift that back right knee, puff up the chest towards the front of your space, and then on your exhale, you're stepping that right foot to the outside of right hand. We're back in that Malasana squat again. So you're pressing palms together. You're seeing if your thumbs can come to rest on your heart space. And then you're using the pressure of palm into palm to press your elbows out wider. Yeah, to open up the knees wider. Maybe your toes pivot out towards the sides to help with the balance, to help with the alignment of the knees. From here, inhale, exhale to extend up into that mountain pose, looking up over thumbs. Exhale, come down into that squat, full inhale. Exhale, extend up, looking up over thumbs. Exhale, come down. Inhale, nice full breath here. And then exhale, third one, extending, and then coming down back into that Malasana squat. We're gonna take a twist here. So you're welcome to bring right fingertips forward and out to the sides. So maybe about a foot forward and a foot out to the sides in front of your right toes. From there, left arm is gonna reach up towards the sky, looking up over lifted shoulder, using the pressure of right elbow inside of right thigh to help open up your heart space more towards the left, looking up over those lifted fingers. If you'd like to take it farther, you're welcome to go for a half or a full bind. So the half bind, the top arm comes down, the back of your palm comes to press into your low back, or maybe even over towards your right thigh. You can start to walk your left fingertips over towards the right side of the room, and then you're gonna snake that bottom arm up and around, coming to grasp that grip, coming to get that bound grip on the right side. If you have the grip, you're using the torque of that right arm to pull your right knee closer to your body, to twist farther open towards the left side and eventually the sky. For one more breath, and then exhale, release, come back to center. You might want to press up into a forward fold. Take a second, take a breath, release any pressure in your side, and then coming back down into that Malasana squat. We're gonna even it out on the other side. So left fingertips are gonna come forward and down, and right arm is gonna peel up towards the sky. And this pose on its own might feel like a lot. Yeah, the bound posture is pretty advanced here. So you can go for it if you like, but this posture, you should be feeling the same idea of that compression in the left thigh, of that twist in the through the heart space and the right side. So we've got this posture, and you've always got the option of a block underneath your bum here, right? If you want to go for the bind, that top arm comes down, you're pressing the back of hand into your low back, maybe walking fingers over towards left thigh. If you can tickle the outside of your left thigh with your right fingers, then you know that you can probably go for the bind. So then that bottom arm is going to sweep under. So the backs of your hands are both pressing into your left thigh, and then maybe scrambling so fingers can pull onto each other. I'll rotate so you guys can see from the front side, but it's basically, you've got this bind, you're looking up over, lifted shoulder, trying to pull that knee more into the heart space. Take one more breath here, and then exhale, unwinding, coming back to that Malasana squat, full breath, and then exhale, extend up, straighten the arms, look up, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, step one foot back and then the other. We're gonna take that caterpillar pose, and then we're gonna pause here. And instead of baby cobra, we're gonna move towards full cobra. So check and see, we're gonna take it nice and slow. Baby cobra, you just puff up your chest towards the front of the room, and you just use that inhale and that pressure of your chest to, inhaling into your chest to lift your heart up off of the mat. So you're not pressing into the mat with your palms at all. If you feel warm and you feel good, start by putting a little bit of pressure in your palms. See how that feels to move up and out of it, taking it nice and slow, really engaging through the glutes, really engaging through the bum to protect your low back here. We start to press up and out of the palms and of the finger pads, knitting shoulders down and away behind your back, maybe tucking chin a little bit. This is a nice front of the hips stretch too, a counter stretch to all that Malasana binding that we just did. Inhale here, and then exhale, press back over bent knees, bring your knees together on the mat, bring your heels out wide, and sit your bum back between your heels. So I'm gonna rotate so you guys can see, but we're moving towards a little bit of a fish pose. So we're not sitting on our heels. Our heels and our feet are out wide. We're sitting down between them. Check in, see how this feels on your knees. If it doesn't feel good, you can sit on your heels, and you're just gonna get a little bit of a different option with this stretch. A little bit, you're gonna skip the quaddy stretch, which is totally fine. You're gonna still get the heart opener. So if you have those knees together, you want to keep them pressed together. You want your heels in close to your bum. You want to walk your palms back down behind you, eventually maybe bringing forearms to the mat, palms pressed down into the ground. And then if that all feels good, maybe you press up with your hips, letting your head roll back. A little bit of an open face fish pose. Taking another deep breath here. And then exhale, hips come back down. And then from here, you might leave your hips down on the ground and walk your upper body down to the mat, folding back between your heels. So knees continue to stay on the ground to knit together. Tops of the feet press down to the mat. You might bring a hand onto your belly, onto your heart to feel your breath, or you might cactus your arms out towards the sides to get a little bit more of a heart opener here. We're just gonna sit with this posture for a couple of minutes. Letting those hips open. And again, the other versions of this, the modifications, everyone looks good in the Zoom, but modifications, in case anyone watches this on Instagram and has trouble with the knees, you can always do this posture with your heels underneath and have a nice pillow behind your back to lean up against. You might, come down onto like a footstool or something. And then you can always have forearms down. So in this version, again, sorry, the video's cutting me off on the bottom, but on this version, my bum is on top of my heels. And so I'm a little bit higher up off the ground. It's not as intense of an outer quad stretch, but you're still getting the heart opener and the shoulder opener options here. Take 2 more breaths, and then we're gonna slowly crawl out of it. Walk the hands back forward in front of you, coming into a child's pose for one nice extension of the breath, and then tuck the toes and press back into downward facing dog. And then from here, inhale, right leg kicks straight back towards the back of the room. Exhale, right knee comes over towards right elbow, hovering there, and then planting right foot outside of right hand. Exhaling, left knee down to the mat. Inhaling to peel open, right arm towards the sky. Getting that twist here. And then exhale, right hand to the outside of right foot. Tuck the back toes. Lift the back knee, inhale to puff up the chest, and then exhale, rising up, high lunge. We're only gonna do one standing posture in this class, it's high lunge, aside from the mountain poses, I guess. And then from here, exhale, bring those palms down to heart center, and then we're gonna take a twist. So left elbow is gonna come to the outside of right knee. I encourage you to keep your back left leg lifted if possible, but if it's impossible for you to get that elbow outside of right knee with the leg lifted, you're welcome to bring or leave your back knee down on the mat and go for that twist. Once you have the twist, you might be able to use the contact of your left elbow on your right leg to help you move into the high lunge. If you have the high lunge, press top hand into bottom hand, move farther into it. Think about that twist starting from beneath your navel, maybe extending through airplane wings, maybe moving towards a full bind by dropping your top arm behind the back and snaking bottom arm under, using that pressure of left arm into right leg to twist you a little deeper, looking over right shoulder here for one more breath, and then exhale, coming back to center, plant the palms inside of right foot, bring back knee down. We're moving into a lizard pose here. So we're gonna start with the lizard pose with our right knee in towards our shoulder, trying to keep that knee in, don't let it bow out just yet. Maybe coming down to forearms. Maybe eventually bringing heart down to the mat is the idea. If you want to intensify the stretch, you can kind of toe heel your front foot farther forward or toe heel your back foot farther back to move more towards a split position. It will bring your pelvis closer to the ground. It will get deeper into the hamstring area. And then once you find your edge, sit with that edge. So I'm in it. All of a sudden, I just want to move and fidget and rock my hip in or out. But I'm sitting with it for 5 breaths total. So like 3 more breaths I've got. And I'm going to see if that urge to move passes. Check in with yourself. Once you find your edge, especially with hip opening style poses, right after it happens, all of a sudden, all you want to do is move. Move out of it. Take the tension out. If it's not pain, see if you can move. See if you can sit with it and see if it passes. Mine passed. Inhaling back up, we're going to move into that outer IT band stretch. So you might come out a little bit, bring your left palm underneath your heart, and then we're not forcing with our right hand. We're just gently putting our right hand onto our right thigh to let that weight open up the right knee towards the right side, coming onto the outside edge of right foot. It's a little bit of that same IT band stretch that we have in pigeon pose. Maybe you come back down to forearms. Maybe you bring one arm up behind your back to come into a twist. Maybe you bring heart space down to the mat. Same thing. Got like 5 more breaths here to find your edge and then breathe into it. And then from there, we're pressing back up, coming onto the heel of the foot again. If you'd like to take the twist and grab for your ankle, get the quad stretch, you can grab for your left toes with your right fingertips. It's like first you try to kick your own bum with your left foot, and then if you can, you're grabbing for the toes, you're hugging that leg closer towards your bum. If that all feels good, maybe you're coming down farther into the posture. Maybe you're rolling onto the outside edge of left knee, back knee, kind of rolling open. That can change the contact point, the focus point of the stretch. 1 more breath, and then exhale, release. Now we're sitting back into a half hero or a half monkey's pose. So hips sink back towards the heel, but front leg is straight. Front toes are flexed a lot back towards your face. And then once you have all that, we're trying to square the hips towards the front of our space. And then we're trying to keep a nice long spine while we bring our heart space down towards our shin. Flexing a lot through the toes. Sinking hips back towards heel. If you want to take it farther, you can toe heel that front foot out farther in front, moving towards full splits. And then from here, we're going to move into gate pose. So I encourage you to bring your right arm over so both hands are on the inside of your right leg. We're going to pivot our left toes, our back toes, over towards the right side of the space. We're going to pivot right toes down. So my back's going to be to you. It's a little bit weird. We're using the full mat today. So toes are over towards the left side of your space, but left foot pivots towards the right. From here, right hand comes down to right thigh, left arm reaches over, and we're taking this nice side stretch here over towards the front of the space or the right side of the body. And in this posture, we really want to sink the hips a little farther forward to get a really nice extension all through that front left side of the body. Take 2 more breaths here. See if you can sink your hips a little farther over towards the left side, and then exhale, coming back up, sitting hips back, down into this. I'm gonna rotate so you can see me in a second, but we're sitting hips down, right leg is over towards the right, left knee is tucked in, left heel is towards the inseam of your right leg. Flexing right toes up towards the sky. Full breath here, and then exhale. We're gonna be reaching over towards the right side. See if you can grab first the outside edge of right foot. If you've got that bend with a straight, if you've got that grip with a straight leg, then you're bending your right elbow to pull in deeper. Maybe you're reaching left arm up and over. If you don't have the flexibility, you might be farther up here to grab your foot, but you can still reach over that same side stretch here. Pulling up and over. Maybe eventually you've got both hands gripping the outside edge of that right foot. If you have that with straight legs, then maybe you want to start pulling your upper body inside your right leg. Twisting in deeper. This is an amazing, amazing like upper, outer arm stretch. Like if you do a lot of like weightlifting and stuff, this is an amazing, amazing like full left side stretch to get into. It's really hard, even like with a massage, to get into these muscles, this fascia that we're stretching right now on the left side. So really inhale to twist even deeper, maybe even twisting your heart more up towards the sky underneath that left arm, and then exhale, come back up, release. Now we're gonna bend that right knee and we're gonna hug that right shin in towards our heart. So you might have, you might be cradling your left foot, your right foot with your left hand and your right knee in the other and rocking back and forth, or you might be able to get that right foot in the crook of your left arm, interlacing hands. Either way, we're rocking hips side to side. And then from here, see how that feels. You might stay here. If this feels like a lot, then totally stay here. If you want to try to move into compass pose, I'm going to give you some options. The first option is to start to straighten that right leg up towards the sky. See if you can get a straight leg, foot flexed, and then grab that foot and see if you can pull it closer towards your heart space. Holding it there. Nice straight leg. Maybe think about rotating your knee more straight back towards your heart. It's gonna wanna naturally bump out towards the side. Your heel's gonna wanna kind of like bump in. Rotate that heel back forward. And then from here, we're gonna bend through that left foot a little bit. You're gonna bring your left hand over and around. So you've got your fingers on the bottom of your foot, your thumb is pointing down towards your heel. You're bending through that right leg and you're tucking your right knee behind your shoulder. Right fingertips come out and to the right, just like we did in that squat pose in the beginning of class. And then from here, you have all of that. If you have all that, and it might not look like this, it might be more like this, it might be like, kind of a balancing crazy, that's okay. We start from there. It's a great way to start, but you've got that tension of the right fingertips into the mat as you start to extend straight again through that right leg. Eventually, you've got straight right leg and you've got fingertips over and down into the mat and you're puffing up your chest, looking up and under that left arm here. Compass pose. We're in it. We're gonna take like 3 more breaths wherever you are. And then exhale, gently release. We're gonna take a butterfly pose here. So heels come into the mat, hug your heels in towards your pelvis. Inhale through straight arms, and then exhale to fold forward. Maybe feel the difference between the hips. We just did a lot of stretching on the right side. We're gonna even that out on the left side, and then we're gonna be slowing it way down for Savasana. So if you are watching this live on the Instagram feed, I'm actually gonna stop it a little earlier today and switch over to the new live feed because I don't wanna pause in the middle of this left side flow as we even it out. So you can stick in that butterfly pose. I'll pick you up in 1 second. The stream will restart. And if you're watching on Zoom, thank you for tuning in. Stick with that butterfly pose a little longer. We're just reloading the live feed now. And then you can release that butterfly pose and we'll meet back in a downward facing dog. So maybe you roll over your lap to get there, or maybe you just kind of untangle and kick back. Either way, we meet back in that downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up off of the mat. Exhale, left knee over towards left elbow, hovering it there, and then trying to plant that left foot down into the mat. Right heel comes down. Inhale, left arm peels open towards the sky, coming into that twist on the left side. Full breath here. And then exhale, that left hand comes back down. Tuck the right toes, straighten right leg. Inhale, rise up for high lunge, left side. Palms come together, down to heart center. Puffing up the chest, straight back legs. Straight back legs. Everyone come a little deeper into the lunge and straighten back legs. Yes. Yes, it's gonna make balance easier. It's also gonna make the twist easier to come into. So we're bringing right elbow to the outside of left leg. You might have to bring your back knee down to the mat, but if you have a straight, strong back leg, it's gonna be easier with balance to twist down and into it. Maybe you look over lifted shoulder. If your thumbs are together at heart center, maybe you extend through the arms, opening up those arms like airplane wings. If all of that feels good, maybe you move into the full bind, bringing top arm behind the back, twisting, pulling bottom arm under for this revolved high lunge twist. Seeing if you are in that bind or wherever you are with it, think about that twist starting from beneath the navel. See if you can twist even farther into the posture wherever you are for one more breath. And then exhale, unwind, palms come back to heart center. Inhale for a long spine. Exhale, plant the hands down to the mat inside of left foot. And then we're moving from this into lizard pose, left side. So maybe rocking hips forward and back just a little bit, and then bringing right knee down to the mat as we move into lizard. The first lizard is that left knee in close to the shoulders. So bringing forearms down, squaring hips a little more toward the front might help you get a little bit deeper into the posture. Thinking about hugging that knee in towards your shoulders. You can have a rounded spine here and just let the weight of your head drop down, or you can think about a little bit of a straighter spine, which kind of forces you to rock your hips forward towards the front of the space. So it's like we're in a deeper low lunge here. I find that that's like the most intense version of this posture is when I'm thinking about rocking my hips forward towards the front of the space. Woo! Intensifies it. And we're taking those 5 deep breaths to find our edge and then breathe past it or breathe deeper into it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. And then from here, we're moving into that open book lizard, I call it. So we're rolling onto the outer edge of our front left foot. We're letting that knee bump open. I'm just gonna rotate so you guys can see it. I think everybody's got it, but it's hard to tell. So we're in that lizard with the knee tugged in, and now we're opening up that knee towards the side, letting that knee just bump open. And it's like we were on the sole of our foot, and now we've just kind of like, this is our foot and we're on the sole, and now we're just more on the outside. And maybe you come farther into it, nice and low in the lunge. Maybe you eventually are bringing heart space down. We're taking 5 breaths to come into this pose. A little bit deeper. And then from here, exhale, press up and out of the mat. Bring that heel back down to the mat. Maybe bringing left arm up. You've got a little bit of a twist here. And maybe you go for that quad stretch. So now I'm grabbing my right ankle with my left leg. I'm gonna move so you all can see it. So it's the opposite side. We just did it on the other side, but grabbing for that bind, rocking hips forward. This kind of forces you to rock forward a little bit more. Whew, it is an intense quad stretch. You might come down lower onto forearms here. You might roll a little bit more towards the right side of the mat, or consciously rolling in, heel in towards the midline of the body. Take another breath here. And then exhale, release. And we're gonna press back into that half monkey's pose, left side. So left leg extends out nice and straight, left toes super flexed. I've got my back toes tucked, so that helps me with stability here, so I'm not wobbling and accidentally falling down deeper into the posture than my flexibility is ready for. And this is a side that I'm recovering from an injury on, so my abilities are different day to day. My hips are squaring more towards the front of the room. I'm thinking about extension through the spine. And then from here, try to bring your heart closer towards your toes. So it's another option, it's another version of thinking about straight spine, is thinking about moving with that heart space as the lead. See how that gets deeper into that hamstring area. Woo, mama. Taking like 3 more deep breaths here. And then after the third, gently rotating back up, pressing into the mat, rotating those left toes down over towards the right side, pivoting right shin behind you towards the left side of the room, moving into that gate pose. So left hand comes down to left thigh, either on thigh or shin, but never pressing down into knee. So maybe hip, thigh are the safe ones, reaching up and over with right fingertips, and then bumping that right hip over towards the left side. So maybe pressing even a little bit with your left hand into your left hip to look up and under right armpit. Maybe thinking about bumping hips a little forward to see how that brings the stretch from the outside of the hip to the front of that hip crease area. Taking 3 deep breaths here. And then after the third, whenever it comes, exhaling to sink hips back down to the mat. Extending that left leg over towards the left side, toes flap open. Right heel is pressing into left thigh. Inhale, square your shoulders towards the left side, and then fold forward towards your left toes. Really trying to square your heart space over towards the left side. And if you've got that and that is feeling good, you've got the option to move farther into it. And you might take that option, or you might wait a few more breaths or try it on a different day. But if you're feeling good, you can release. You've got straight leg, feeling good. You've got that good grip on the left side. You release the right arm, you bring it up and over. So now left hand and right hand are both on the outside of your left foot. You might grab that grip with your right hand. So my thumb is pointing down towards the mat. Right, like this is the grip you have. So thumb is pointing down. Yep, people look good. And then from there, you might bring your left elbow to the inside of left leg and really use that anchor to pivot your body up and over, open towards the sky. It is a super deep right side body stretch. Even if you don't have the straight leg, I would recommend trying to get your shoulder inside that knee and using that tension of the grip of your right hand to pull your heart space open. You're gonna feel like intercostal muscles all the way down to that back outside sacrum area, really, really, really opening up, trying to pivot heart space towards the sky. Taking 3 more deep breaths here. And then when we come out of it, we're gonna release nice and smooth and gently, coming back up. Cradle that left side leg in towards your heart space. Trying to get that shin up parallel to the ground, so it's not like a bad knee. You're really trying to get that parallel shin. And this might be your compass pose for today, right? This cradled compass pose. This is a nice shoulder opener, like really separate your shoulder blades. Maybe like press that heel, that lifted left heel farther away from your body. See how that creates extra space in your shoulders. Yes, nice deep breath here. And then we're moving towards that extended leg option. And you might not have the option. This is a big strap pose in yoga class. So a lot of folks, you loop a strap around your leg. I recommend if you don't have a strap, you can always use a hand towel, or some people use purse straps is another good one. Any sort of like, a belt, even like an old belt that you don't use is a good one for this kind of pose. And you want to keep hugging that straight leg. Ideally, straight knee is like right up touching your chest. I'm recovering from an injury, so I can't quite get there yet again, but you kind of clock where you can get, hold it there, and then exhale. You're going to bend through the knee. You're going to grab again that outside grip with the right hand. You're going to bring again that left arm inside and forward, combination of that ground stretch we just did and that malasana twist we did earlier in class. And then you're going to start to extend through the left leg. You're going for a straight leg. You're pressing into the mat with your left arm, and you're really peeling open your heart space towards the sky. Foot can be flexed or pointed. Flexed, I find, is an easier grip. You might have the ankle grip. If you do, amazing. Amazing for you. Great life of flexibility. I envy you. Otherwise, wherever you are, we're inhaling. It's even a deeper side stretch here, puffing up the chest, and then exhale, gently release, coming into that variation of that butterfly pose we just did. So it's more of a diamond shape. So rather than hugging in your heels towards your pelvis, you're gonna leave them about like 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet in front of you, keeping that diamond shape. And then from here, inhale, rock forward, maybe grabbing underneath the feet, stretching with your heart. And rolling forward. This is the amazing prep work. If a sleeping turtle is in your practice, this is the time that you would take it. We just did a ton of hip opening IT band stretches to get us warmed up for it. So sleeping turtle is you'd have your legs out straight, you'd bring your arms underneath, and you'd bind behind your back. If you'd like to try for it, this is, you'd start doing it kind of like walk your hands underneath Start to straighten through the legs. Start to bring your heart down closer to the ground. And then once you get there, then you start to walk your arms back towards the back. Start to toe heel the feet closer together. And then eventually they cross over. And then you're bringing your heart down underneath. Maybe eventually your crossed feet come behind your head. Super advanced pose. Otherwise, you're staying with this nice diamond forward fold for one more breath. And then exhaling to slowly unravel. We're going to roll down to our backs. And you're welcome to take a Savasana here if you'd like. If you have a few more minutes, please do stick with us. We're going to do a shoulder stand and a plow, and then we're going to finish out in Savasana. So depending on how much time you have, we're going to be going over a little bit more, like an hour and 20 minutes. Oh boy, long, slow flow. Inhale, lift your legs up towards the sky, and I like to point my toes, press palms down into the mat, and then exhale, rock hips up towards the sky. Once your hips are rocked up, then you bring your fingertips to your low back, and you use that to stabilize you as you start to bring shoulders right above, or hips right above shoulders, and toes right above hips. You want to keep your chin pointed straight up towards the sky. You don't want to look left or right during this posture. So please, please, please protect your neck. Don't look side to side. Fingertips can come down to your low back. And then you're engaging through the glutes to see if you can get a little bit taller up through your toes. And then we're going to exhale, moving into a plow pose. Your toes are going to come over your head. I'm not sure, I know I have a table behind me somewhere. Oop, there it is. Oop, and there it is again. And then you're trying to rock your toes down towards the mat. Again, you don't want to bring your neck side to side, especially if you're learning this pose, but you're trying to keep your hips above your shoulders. It's a really, really nice, like exaggerated cat spine. If all of this feels good, then you can move into deaf man's pose, separating knees, bringing knees down to the mat on either side of your ears. You might keep your palms pressed down into the mat. You might grab underneath your thighs. Wherever you are, taking the last 5 active breaths of class to come a little deeper into the posture, and then to slowly, 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 with control, rock out of it. So if you're in that deaf man's pose, you come back to plow. If you're in plow, maybe you come up through shoulder stand. You tuck the chin as you come down to protect the neck. Nice and slow, and then set up your Savasana. So heels can come down to the mat. The width of the mat, toes can flap open. Arms can extend along the length of the body, palms face up. Tuck the chin and tuck the tailbone to get a nice extension through your spine. Feel the weight of your body melting down into the mat. Really feel that release. Each inhale, send it to a part of your body that maybe you remember felt tight at a certain part of class, or that you felt like you were deeply stretching at a certain part of class. Send that energy, that breath, focus on that part of your body that's probably not working right now. Let it soak up there, let it gather there. Again, you're welcome. I invite you to picture that air and that energy, that focus as a color of light as it comes into your lungs and spreads through your bloodstream and fills you with that special extra charge that we just mixed up in this space around us. I'm going to give you the rest of your savasana to enjoy. I encourage you to take a nice long one if you have the luxury of the time here. I appreciate everyone who's tuning in and watching these videos and telling me that they're enjoying them. It makes it super valuable for me. So thank you everyone who took the time to write a note, especially these last couple weeks. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Bye.